Hi everyone, I'm Kevin Elson, and we have a great show today on This Is the Day. Jay's not with us today, but he'll be back next week finishing up his vacation. We have a great show. We're going to be talking about the Knights and World Youth Day, I believe.
Yeah, we're just back from the Supreme Convention, and Peter Sonsky is with us today to talk about the Knights and their great work. And also with World Youth Day coming up, Kevin, Matthew St. John of the Knights of Columbus will be with us to talk about the Love and Life Center in Madrid for World Youth Day this summer.
Actually, it's going to be a great show. Please stay with us. This Is the Day starts right now. Welcome, everyone. I'm Kevin Elson, along with the president of the Catholic TV Network, Father Robert Reed, and we are flying the flags of World Youth Day.
You know what this reminds me of?
No.
This reminds me of the big dinner at
the state's flag.
State's dinner.
Yes, that is actually the way they do it.
You got to be there. You got to be there for this thing. If you're a Knight, or if you watch the coverage of the 129th Supreme Convention. At the state's dinner, they all come in waving their flags, and if you're from the Vatican, you get to wave the Vatican flag.
Yes, we are back. We had a great experience at the Knights of Columbus 129th Supreme Convention in Denver, Colorado, and we're just back there. Came in back. It was a quick trip, but it was very exciting, and it was great to be able to talk to so many people out there and to showcase the many great works of the Knights of Columbus, because they do a lot, and every year we go there, we find out more things that they're doing, and it's pretty impressive. We got a chance to talk to some of the Haitian amputees.
That was incredible.
Yeah, that was one of the highlights. The great work that they're doing in Haiti with some of the men and women, some of the children that have lost limbs during that horrific earthquake. And there's a great program, Project Medishare, that's down there that the Knights are working with. And they have a soccer team, an amputee soccer team that we get a chance to talk to. And you had a great interview with some of the guys that are running that program.
Yeah. Two of the guys involved in the program in producing these prosthetic limbs, which are very cool looking, by the way. And not only are they producing the limbs and have, I think, provided the ability to walk to about 650 Haitian people, but also they've set up a means, a factory, if you will, to produce prosthetic devices for more and more people, so that the Haitian people can help their own people who have been devastated, really. I mean, I just can't imagine all of a sudden not being able to walk. I mean, talk about losing hope.
Yeah.
And they've given that hope back to so many people.
And that's the other thing, too, like you were saying, two of the guys that are on the soccer team are actually working in that plant, helping make prosthetics, and they have their own. So it's pretty impressive. And that's just one of the many initiatives that the Knights have been working on.
They also announced that the Knights of Columbus have purchased the John Paul II Cultural Center in Washington.
Now, don't get too much into that. I get that in the news over there.
Oh, okay. You'll hear more about that in the news when Kevin Nelson sneaks away and goes to the news desk. So.
But that is
more on that later.
That's another great thing. But we had a great opportunity. We talked to Archbishop Chaput of Denver, who is now the designate of Philadelphia as well, and he's just sort of the administrator now in Denver. But he'd been there for 14 years, and he's moving on to Philadelphia. And then we talked to the Archbishop of Detroit as well, Vigneron. Yeah. And hopefully I get that right. I was trying to figure that one out. But.
Yeah, and every morning, of course, people in Detroit watch the Mass from Boston. So it was great to have a chance to talk to their Archbishop. And, of course, our own Archbishop, Cardinal Sean. And the Supreme Knight, Carl Anderson, which is always fun.
Just to top it off. Great.
The great thing about the Supreme Knight, Carl Anderson, is that even though he's an executive and in charge of this, multi-billion-dollar operation, which helps and serves so many people and has so many members, increasing number of members and councils and good works and volunteer hours given, yet he's just a very easy guy to be with. You know, just a nice guy. He's easy to talk to, and if you watched our coverage this past week, you had a chance to see him and to hear him kind of summarize the good work of this past fraternal year of the Knights of Columbus.
Yeah, so we were there for the beginning with the opening mass, and then you know, that was a wonderful experience there at the hotel. They had beautiful setup for, and we're seeing some pictures now of them processing in. But to make like a room in a hotel, you know, a nice and solemn place is pretty hard to do. But they did a nice job there. They had those projections of some of the actual stained glass windows of the cathedral in Denver.
Yeah, and there's the Supreme Knight Carl Anderson giving his address. He gives an address for about an hour and 15 minutes, but it's hardly boring because it's just jam-packed of all the good work that the Knights have done and all their successes over the past year. And of course, the Knights have a great devotion to Our Lady under the title of Our Lady of Guadalupe. And not only do the Knights attend the Supreme Convention every year, but oftentimes their wives and families. And there's the States dinner we were talking about before.
That you could have fit right in there with that flag waving earlier. That was perfect. And that's the big thing. They have tables of the state's chapter, and then they will literally go through each state song of each chapter there, and you know, and the whole table will stand up when it comes to their state, and they'll start singing along with the song.
And I want to say to our friends down in San Antonio, because we share some media with them, that the Texans are the rowdiest bunch of all. There is no question about that.
But it was a great time, and you know, it was great to be able to provide that with you, and hopefully you were able to catch some. If you didn't, I believe you can watch a lot of the stuff that we had taped, the interviews and the business session, the opening mass on catholictv.com/KFC, right?
Knights of Columbus.
Knights of Columbus, yeah.
It could be both, but Knights of Columbus for sure.
So go right there, right now, after the show. Don't go right there. But we actually, you know, we talked to Peter Sonsky while we were there. He's the communications manager of the Knights of Columbus, and he was able to sit with us for most of the day and give us some insights into the Knights. We also had an opportunity to just sort of take him aside and talk a little bit about the Knights in general, just you know, the organization itself, and just to sort of highlight some of the things and how it all began with Father Michael McGivney. So
good man.
We're going to take a quick peek at that right now, and then we'll come back, and I believe we have some great letters to read as well. So let's check in with Peter Sonsky.
The Knights of Columbus is a Catholic fraternal organization. It was founded in 1882 by a parish priest in New Haven, Connecticut, Father Michael McGivney. Today, it's grown to an international organization with more than 1.8 million members, all throughout the Americas, at least North America, Canada, United States, Mexico, and into Central America, the Caribbean, Poland, and the Philippines. Father Michael McGivney, as I said, was a priest of the then Diocese of Hartford, Connecticut. He was the son of Irish immigrants and became a priest. Despite a number of hardships in his own family, he had many different occasions in which he had to return to help support the family throughout his seminary years. But in his first assignment at St. Mary's Church, he saw a need among the faithful to strengthen them in their faith. It was not a very heavily Catholic time, and there were a lot of influences that drew Catholic men away from their faith for better employment opportunity, for better social advancement. And he felt that it was necessary to find an organization that would unite them as Catholics and support them in their faith. That was his idea for the Knights of Columbus, so he founded it on the Catholic tenets of unity and charity. So it's an organization that supports one another and supports local church and community, as well as the needs of the people internationally. Well, the Supreme Convention, like most other organizations, is a gathering of members. It's an opportunity to share common interests, to renew friendships, to be reinvigorated, if you will, in your activities and in the programs that you're involved with. It's a tremendous opportunity to learn more about the organization and what it does in different places that you might not encounter in your own isolated situation. It's a great gathering of families that have real love for their Catholic faith and for service to people in their areas. The Knights of Columbus has a wonderful website, kfc.org, in which we share all of the initiatives that we're involved with and tell people about our history and the terrific things that we do. We hope that people will learn more about us and join us if they're interested. It's an organization that touches families all throughout the broadcast area of Catholic TV.
And thanks to Peter Sonsky for talking with us.
And thanks to Peter for taking care of us.
Yes.
At the Supreme Convention, because he really did. He was with us, as Kevin mentioned, all the way and facilitated our ability to bring this great event, the 129th Supreme Convention, to you here on Catholic TV and CatholicTV.com. And
in the midst of working with all the media that's there, he was able to take time to sit with us at the desk. So we really appreciate that, and hopefully we were able to provide people a little more insight to have Peter there and give us some really good information about the Knights as we went on through the day. So thank you. Now we have a look at some letters, and I believe you have the first one there, Father.
I do, and you know, this letter is a very, very nice letter. It's actually kind of lengthy. I can't read the whole thing to you. It's from Amelia, but she does have this to say: I have so much to be thankful for, don't we all? And especially to you, Father, for teaching me to say the Rosary properly. The Rosary was carried and always a part of my Catholic faith. I carried it in my bridal bouquet, but never quite learned the mysteries. As the saying goes, practice makes perfect. I don't know the mysteries, but I know what they mean. I thank God for bringing your station into my life over 10 years ago. Well, that's great, and I'm glad that you learned to pray the Rosary through Catholic TV.
In her bridal bouquet.
Yeah,
that's pretty amazing.
I never heard of that before.
I want to thank you and your great staff for all the inspiring and interesting programs. Of course, I always enjoy the Mass, Rosary, and Chaplet. This is the day is number 1. Also, it's great to see all the special papal masses and services. Please place my name in the prayer box as I am having surgery this month, and I will do that. And good luck to you on that surgery. And that's from Helen. Thank you for those kind words. And I'm going to place that right in here.
Right in the prayer box.
Yeah.
Keep all those people in your prayers. And Barbara has this to write to us. She says, just a quick note to tell you how much I enjoyed watching Father Frank's Rosary programs. Please include them in your programming on occasion. He will be forever in our hearts. And you're right, Barbara. He will be forever in our hearts. And we do try to occasionally bring Father Frank back so that we can remember him and benefit from his very deep spirituality and his priesthood.
And this is a great letter as well, and very quick and good to the point. Thank you for bringing me closer to the good Lord. Your programs provide peace and consolation. I appreciate all that is done to make Catholic TV what it is, and that is from Francis, and thank you for that. And very nice, and it's nice to know to get letters like that,
it is.
Bringing people closer to the Lord.
And we thank you for writing to us. You know, we get an awful lot of mail. We wish we could read them all on TV, but we try to pick a few that kind of represent the great mail that we get for you, and we thank you for being in touch. And if you do want to write and you don't know the address is this: Catholic TV, P.O. Box 9196. That's in Watertown, Massachusetts, and the zip code is 02471. Or if you're online, you can easily email your notes and comments and suggestions to us at thisistheday@catholictv.org. That's thisistheday@catholictv.org. Now, I know you've been waiting with bated breath ever since the beginning of the program when I mentioned something about the Knights of the Columbus purchasing the John Paul II Cultural Center, which is in our nation's capital. And now Kevin Nelson has gone over to the news desk. He's going to tell us about that good news and plenty more. Kevin, take it away.
All right, thanks, Father. Hello, everyone. It is time to take a look at the news, and we begin with news from the Vatican. Pope Benedict XVI says light summer reading is great, but reading some of the Bible also can be a relaxing as well as an enlightening vacation activity. And during his weekly general audience in the town square at Castel Gandolfo, the Pope called the Bible a little library born over the course of a millennium. and some of the books inside are very short. He also made some reading suggestions within the Bible. Catholic News Service's Cindy Wooden has more on the audience.
For a month-long break, Pope Benedict held his weekly general audience today at Castel Gandolfo. The audience was held in the town square because there were too many visitors to fit into the courtyard of the papal villa. The Pope told the crowd that it's a natural thing to pick up a book on vacation, but Christians might also want to pick up their Bibles. Not all of the books of the Bible are long, he said. The books of Tobit, Ruth, and Esther can be read in less than an hour. The Pope said other books, like Job and the Song of Songs, are literary masterpieces that touch people's souls and hearts. Reading the Bible on vacation is not only relaxing, but it can nourish your soul and help you to pray, he said.
Looking now at news from around the country, as we have been mentioning, a number of initiatives were announced at the Knights of Columbus 129th Supreme Convention this past week, including the purchase of the Pope John Paul II Cultural Center in Washington. Supreme Knight Carl Anderson said the Knights of Columbus will build a shrine to Blessed John Paul and put up related exhibits. Anderson said, true to Pope John Paul II's vision and using the story of his life as inspiration, the shrine will be an opportunity to evangelize and spread the good news of the gospel through a new evangelization. The center went up for sale 18 months ago. It boasts 12 acres of land and sits just steps from the Basilica of the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception and the Catholic University of America. The center opened in 2001 with financial backing from the Detroit Archdiocese. Under the terms of the sale, the Archdiocese will receive $20 million, and the Catholic University, which has a secured interest in the land, will receive almost $3 million. In other news from the Vatican, global debt and economic policy have covered the front pages of the world's newspapers lately, and the Vatican's L'Osservatore Romano is no different. However, unlike other news outlets, L'Osservatore Romano is focusing on the moral and ethical implications of the decisions being made by lawmakers. Catholic News Service's Cindy Wooden has more on this report.
Like newspapers around the world, the Vatican newspaper, L'Osservatore Romano, has been tracking government debates about economic policy and public debt, including in the United States. But the Vatican newspaper's take on the subject is slightly different from most newspapers. It is focused on the ethical profile of the political decisions and how economic policy impacts the poor. Pope Benedict has said that all human activities, including economic decisions, have a moral implication. The head of the Vatican Bank, Ettore Gotti Tedeschi, wrote a front-page piece in today's paper. He said that when it is separated from ethical considerations and assumes a moral autonomy, the economy ends up in the hands of people who transform it into an instrument of power, including political power. The financial crisis, he wrote, was created by Western consumerism, fueled by the idea that material goods can fulfill every human longing.
And finally in the news, after the announcement that contraceptives and sterilization will be among the mandated preventative services for women under the new health reform law, Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, is proposing that only religious employers meeting 4 criteria would be exempt from providing these services through their health plans. Those requirements are that the organization, number 1, has the inculcation of religious values as its purpose. Number 2, primarily employs persons who share its religious tenets. And number 3, primarily serves persons who share its religious tenets. And also number 4 is a nonprofit organization under specific sections of the Internal Revenue Code. Bill Donohue, president of the Catholic League for Religious and Civil Rights, sees these guidelines as a catch-22 for religious employers. He said if they are too religious, Catholic social service agencies risk losing federal funds, but if Catholic hospitals are not sufficiently religious, they cannot be exempt from carrying health insurance policies that transgress their religious tenets. The announcements of the narrow religious exemption is subject to a 60-day comment period and has already drawn strong criticism from both sides. Sister Carol Keehan, president and CEO of the Catholic Health Association and a key supporter of the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, said the language of the HHS guidelines is not broad enough to protect our Catholic health providers. Mercy Sister Marianne Walsh, Director of Media Relations for the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, said on the USCCB web media blog that the HHS regulation conveniently ignores the underlying principle of Catholic charitable actions. We help people because we are Catholic, not because our clients are, said Sister Walsh, who went on further to say that it makes no sense for Catholic charities agencies to use money that would be better spent on feeding the poor to underwrite services that violate church teachings. Well, that is all the information we have for you on this Friday, August 5th. That we are going to send it back over to Father Reed with more of This is the Day.
Hey, thanks, Kevin. Great to know what's going on. Do you know Father David Guffey at all, by the way?
I don't, actually, Father.
Well, you know Family Theater Productions, of course.
I do. Yeah.
They've been very good to us over the years, and we have a
but I believe, though, we're gonna be talking to him sometime in the future. I believe.
Yeah, no, I just was curious whether you knew of him or not.
Oh, yeah.
No, actually, right now, because World Youth Day is just about a couple of weeks away, we have a chance to get the inside scoop on something that is going to be very important to our coverage of World Youth Day. Matthew St. John of the Knights of Columbus has a great report on what's called the Love and Life Center. Now, you know about that, don't you, Kevin?
I do, yeah. It's pretty impressive, actually, and it's going to be a great place for the English-speaking pilgrims to go when they're in Madrid, Spain at World Youth Day. Yeah,
there'll be opportunities for catechesis and prayer and celebrations, particularly of the Eucharist, in a venue which holds about 10,000 people. And it's called the Love and Life Center. It's going to be in Madrid for World Youth Day. And we're going to be collaborating along with the Knights of Columbus, the Family Theater Productions, the Sisters for Life. And Matthew St. John of the Knights had a chance to talk with us about this great work in Madrid for World Youth Day, the Love and Life Center. So let's take a look and listen.
Love and Life, a home for English-speaking pilgrims, is going to be the premier catechesis and youth festival site at World Youth Day for English-speaking pilgrims. So it's a joint project with the Knights of Columbus and the Sisters of Life and 5 wonderful co-sponsoring organizations: Holy Cross Family Ministries, Apostleship of Prayer, Salt and Light Television out of Canada, World Youth Alliance, and the Fellowship of Catholic University Students, Focus. So we're all coming together as part of this common mission to serve the English-speaking pilgrims in Madrid. We're going to offer a broad diversity of programming each day, over 40-plus hours over the course of the whole week. We're going to be running from 9 to midnight every day whenever there's not an official World Youth Day papal event. I think they can expect a little bit of everything and a whole lot of fun. So we're trying to do a bunch of different styles of programming. We're going to have catechesis in the morning. We're going to have panels in the afternoon. We're going to have keynote speeches. We're going to have liturgies, and we're also going to have youth festival concerts each night. So whether it's a panel with prominent Catholic intellectuals or it's great bands performing on stage, we're going to have a whole host of big names that people have heard before. We're going to have the Catholic Underground Band. We're going to have Scythian, L'Angelou. We're going to have Father Ozeka from Salt and Light Television, Father Albert Barron, Father Spitzer. We're going to have Grammy Award winner Alexander Acha. We're going to have movie star Matt Marsden from Transformers 3, from Rambo, from Black Hawk Down. We're going to have Clarence Gilliard, who co-starred with Chuck Norris in Walker, Texas Ranger. All these different people and plenty more are going to be there to share their experience and to help educate, evangelize, and entertain the pilgrims who come to our site. And that's just the main stage. Outside of the main stage, in the periphery of the arena, we're going to have 2 adoration chapels. We're going to have more intensive breakout sessions. We're going to have an art exhibit. We're going to have a bunch of different sponsor and organizational exhibits where they can learn more. We're going to have opportunity for confession. And of course, we're going to be air conditioned. We're going to have food. We're going to have restrooms and a place for the pilgrims to stop and relax. We think music is always a fixture of World Youth Day. And so we want to give the pilgrims what they expect, but we want to give it to them bigger and better. So we're excited to have these people come. One of our feature musical opportunities, one of our feature musical programs is going to be the Marian Fest, which is going to happen on Wednesday night. And we're all going to come together and celebrate the gifts of the Blessed Mother. And so we're going to have Alexander Acha, the Grammy winner. We're going to have Danielle Rose, who's famous here in the States. We're going to have Adoramus Night, which is a New Mexican band. We're going to have the postulator for the cause of canonization for Juan Diego, Monsignor Chavez, is going to be there to speak. We're going to have Luis Alfredo Diaz, who is a Spanish musician, so that's going to be really a themed festival that's going to really incorporate music, but we're going to have concerts throughout the event, throughout the day, all throughout the week. I think for the Knights this is important because we always consider ourselves in service to the Church. And in this instance, the Church asked us to be a part of this and to help out, much in the way that we've done in the past in Sydney, much in the way that some of our co-sponsors have as far back as Cologne. So we were more than happy to come together and help. And also, being an international organization, a lot of our members are young men who are going to be at World Youth Day, and so we want to be there with them as part of this momentous event in the life of the church, and we want to be there in service to the church. But it's about so much more than the Knights. It's us and the other 6 organizations all coming together for this common mission, and we have some great organizations with different specialties and different religious orders all coming together towards the same goal, and we're really proud and happy to be a part of that. If people want to learn more, they can go to our website. It's www.wydenglish.org, or they can check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/wydenglish.
There you have it.
And we are back, and I literally believe that he spent 5 minutes saying what was going to be there. I couldn't believe how much stuff they're going to have at the Love and Life Center.
It's all up here.
I know. It's incredible. If you're in Madrid, please stop by, because there's going to be so much going on there. I couldn't, they had Grammy Award winners, Academy Award winners, people that were in stage and screen and everything else, and plus, the catechesis, as we mentioned, and adoration there as well. So, it sounds like a great opportunity for people that are there to stop by and get so much out of that Love and Life Center.
And if you can't be there in Madrid, which a lot of us aren't able to do, you can be there virtually right here on Catholic TV, because beginning on August 16th, we have full coverage of all of the major events and some of the not-so-major events as well. That entire week, World Youth Day, right here on Catholic TV and at CatholicTV.com. You can watch it live streaming, or you can watch all of the events after the fact. They'll be there to watch at our website, CatholicTV.com.
This part of the many things that we're bringing you through this summer. Isn't summer supposed to be slowing down type thing, where you sort of relax a little bit?
Seems to be just racing forward. And the magazine, this is the magazine for August, and in that magazine is a lot of the events that we'll be covering and our schedule, and you can get that magazine. We'll gladly send it to you, not just this month, but every month thereafter, talking about the Knights of Columbus and our coverage, and especially about World Youth Day coming up in just a couple of weeks. I
would like to thank Matthew St. John for being here to tell us about the Love and Life Center. We also thank Peter Sonsky as well for telling us a little bit more about the Knights of Columbus.
And I want to thank you, Kevin.
And I want to thank you as well.
And Jay will be back next week, of course.
He will.
We'll all be back. The team will be here. And until such time, we pray that Almighty God might bless and protect you. And don't forget to pray as well for all the people in the prayer box.
Yes.
And may God be with you today and throughout this coming weekend. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you so much for joining Kevin and I here in the Catholic TV living room. We love coming into yours. Until next time, everyone, God bless.